Welcome to Everything Casual, bringing you original football casual videos from the golden era of the 80s and 90s, right up to current day. Football away day stories and historic clashes between football firms. Subscribe so you don't miss out. We upload videos every week. To all my subscribers and regular lads, welcome back. If you are new to the channel, this is a place where we share memories and stories and reminisce about the good old days. We literally are everything casual. Sometimes we have stories about firms, sometimes about rivalries, and now and again we cover stories currently circulating in the news about football lads. I also like to promote books written by football casuals. Anyway, today we are looking at a fierce, nasty rivalry. The history of football is marked by bitter rivalries, often between clubs that are sited just a few miles apart. But for those who know the firms, this one's personal. Two working class clubs, two proud, gritty cities, and two of the most feared hooligan firms in British football. This is the violent history of Everton and Millwall, a rivalry built not in the stands, but on the streets. To understand the hatred between these two mobs, we have to look beyond just football. Millwall, a name that carries fear across the country, the Bushwackers, notorious in the 70s, 80s and beyond, fearless, ruthless, infamous. And then there's Everton, often overshadowed by Liverpool in terms of media attention. But on the streets, it's a different story. The county road cutters, the Blue Union. Everton's firms have long had a serious reputation. The rivalry between Millwall and Everton wasn't born out of local bragging rights. It was born from clashes, real violent clashes. The animosity between Everton and Millwall dates back 50 years to the 1973 FA Cup fifth round match at Goodison Park. Two Millwall fans were seriously injured and at least 11 others suffered knife wounds. It was in the days of no segregation and the early days of hooliganism, and long before all ticket matches. Around 2000, Millwall fans travelled up to Scousland, and there were several incidents around Liverpool city centre. The police couldn't cope with the Millwall fans and wouldn't put them in the ground together, so they came up with the idea of letting them in small pockets all over the ground. This tactic proved disastrous. Everton's notorious county road cutters and the Millwall FC Bushwackers faced off across the terraces, with dozens of innocent fans caught up in the mayhem. Old school Millwall fans still talk about it as their darkest day. A notorious long-lived graffiti slogan on a wall near the old den read, "If there's a God, give us Everton in the cup." The hatred is now third generation. One Everton fan said they still remembered it vividly. He explained, "What happened was some Millwall fans dressed up in Clockwork Orange gear came into Gladys Street and a few of them were knifed." Another Toffees supporter named Ian recalled, "A load of Millwall fans came through the turnstile on Bullen's Road, thinking it was the paddock entrance. There was loads of trouble in the street and 13 Millwall fans were stabbed. The Millwall fans who entered the Gladys Street end of the ground were being set upon as soon as they went through the gates, and the police stood back and watched. A few of them tried to climb the fence into the boys' enclosure, but were pulled down or slashed where they were. It was really bad. I mean, I felt a bit sick afterwards at what I'd witnessed. The grudges formed on that fateful day still continue, and those that were there found it hard to forget what they saw." One Toffees fan wrote on a club forum, "I was sat on a barrier right in the middle of it, aged about 8 or 9. Couldn't move as to jump down of my perch. I would have been in the thick of the Millwall fans. They got hammered, even without the weapons that were going in, knives, screwdrivers, a hammer. None died, but 1 or 2 were in a bad way. I think it was 11 stabbed, some on the way back to Lime Street. Anybody in the boys' pen would have seen firsthand one of them getting stabbed as he tried to climb up the fence. A few from the stands went for him and he tried to drop down, got repeatedly stabbed as he hung there." Millwall had some stocky blonde fella in a sheepskin with them. I don't know how many times he went down, but he got right up and had another go. One of his mates was in a bad way, and even as the stretcher was going onto the pitch, this soft sod was still shouting the odds covered in blood. Total madman. Scary for a kid to be so close to that. I think I was in shock for most of the game. Didn't help that their keeper had a brilliant game. And us getting beat. Around 100 Millwall fans, scouring Lime Street Station after the match in search of an Everton fan on whom they could exact their revenge, were reinforced by a group of Man City fans who were on their way home from Anfield. Another pitched battle ensured there, one that has echoed down the years and been repeated whenever the two sides have been drawn to play each other. If you are a bit of a dresser and you love designer clothes, especially some of the brands worn on the terraces, but don't want to pay silly prices, but don't want to wear moody fake clothes either, then check out my shop on Vinted. Just go on Vinted and type in everything casual and my garms should pop up. The clothes are pre-loved, all in great condition and all authentic. I recently sold an Aquascutum jumper for £8 and a Vivienne Westwood shirt for a tenner. Everything is that sort of price, so get on Vinted and check out our new shop, or click the link in the description. Throughout the 90s, the tension only escalated. Millwall were known to travel in numbers, and they had no problem going toe-to-toe with the most dangerous mobs in England. Everton, meanwhile, had developed one of the most organised and low-key firms in the north. Clashes between the two began popping up in both cities, but it was down south where things got particularly nasty. Cold Blow Lane. One of the most intimidating grounds in Britain. When Everton travelled to Millwall, the home fans and their firm were waiting. There were running battles across Bermondsey, ambushes near the station, and in some cases, fights arranged beforehand, away from the ground. One infamous scrap reportedly took place in a South London park. No cameras, no police, just fists, boots and reputation. Fast forward to the noughties, and while CCTV and policing had changed the game, the hatred remained. In the year 2006, during an FA Cup tie at Goodison Park, a large Millwall presence clashed with Merseyside police. Bottles were thrown, arrests made, and away from the stadium, skirmishes between younger mobs flared up. But the most notorious modern-day incident, that came in January 2019. Everton travelled to the Den for a fourth-round FA Cup match, and what followed was pure chaos. Fights erupted before the game, flares thrown, faces covered, weapons drawn. One Everton fan was slashed across the face with a blade. A horrific injury captured on camera. The footage spread across social media within hours, and it reignited the deep animosity between the two mobs. Police made several arrests, and both clubs condemned the violence, but among the firms, the message was clear. The rivalry was still on. Let's listen to what a top Millwall face has to say about clashes with Everton. The following are all his own words. It was in February 1973 when we made the journey to Liverpool by train for the FA Cup fourth-round tie. It was absolutely packed. Everyone had plenty of booze with them, and we were well pissed by the time we got to Lime Street. We came out of the station straight into a reception committee. We were at the front fighting, and more Millwall came streaming out of the station behind us. We must have had about 2,000 with us once out of the station, our top fighters all on the scene. We started to come off better in the exchanges. There were running battles everywhere. The police were trying to maintain order, but weren't having much luck. We later found out the mob that had met us at the station was both Everton and Liverpool. They had joined together to take us on, but still the two of them were not good enough to beat us. They started to back off once we got the upper hand. We made our way to the ground. En route, there were attacks from small mobs, but nothing major. They would attack, but run as soon as the fighting started. When we got into Goodison Park, we mobbed up near the home end, the Gladys Street stand. We made an attempt to get into their end. With the fighting even and Everton not giving any ground, we regrouped for another charge, and this time they ran. A few stood to fight, but we kept steaming into the away end, pushing them back. We looked round, and we were in their end. We had taken their end, something no other team had done. The fighting was continuous throughout the match. It carried on outside, with us once again coming out on top. There were a few small attacks on the way back to Lime Street. Later, we found out there had been a few casualties. 7 Millwall had been slashed and stabbed. But that is the risk you take fighting at football. I mean, 7 slashed out of 2,000 is not a bad percentage, when we could claim to be the only firm to take the Everton home end. In October 1995, we drew Everton in the second round of the League Cup, a year after beating Arsenal and Chelsea. We had nothing to fear. The game itself finished 0-0. Midweek matches at the New Den. I remember it being about 3/4 full and a good atmosphere. There were a good number of away fans considering it was a midweek, second round League Cup game. We expected them being a top flight team to bring a good firm. We knew their top boys were coming. We were waiting in the Cliftonville Tavern by the ground, but instead of coming to our main pub, they went into the Barnaby. It was full of scarfers, and they got themselves picked up by the old Bill. They knew where we would be, yet they went to another pub to get a safe escort into the ground. Poor show, really. We weren't too optimistic going up to Goodison, as it was advantage to Everton really having drawn the first leg away. It was another midweek match, and a fair few of the boys went up. We took 800, and 500 would have been ready for a ruck. Big jolly up on the train. It was not a football special, but just a normal train with loads of regular passengers. Now let's hear directly from an Everton lad on that famous clash with Millwall. He was there, and this is a real account from him. All credit to YouTube channel, The Central Club, for this interview. If you are into football casual interviews, then check the channel out. One of the best around. Here's the interview.
So what we're getting to is Everton go home and away. We got Millwall, didn't we? Fucking hell. So Everton and Millwall have got history from back in the 70s and stuff like that. And I'm not coming on here to fucking slag Millwall by any means. I'll tell you that now. I'm going to tell you what I done. What other people done. That's fucking their business, you know what I mean? What I done. So, 2019, Everton get Millwall away in the FA Cup. Me and Olivia have got tickets and stuff. Fucking Millwall. She was 17 at the time. Anyway, the night before, my wife's mum had died. She wasn't very well. Been up the hospital for a few days and all that. And we knew she was going to pass, and unfortunately she passed, and it was fucking, Anyway, I'm up speaking to her, but having a couple of drinks. By this time, it's fucking 6 o'clock in the morning. The train's at 8:30. The game's not till 5:30, by the way. Olivia gets up, Dad, it's Millwall away. So she's in the shower. I'm in the shower after her. Down to the boozer. Get on the train's packed and all that. Get to London for about 11. Take Olivia to some bar where she can have some food and all that. And I hadn't really had a drink on the way down, Cullen, because I was fucking feeling a bit ropey, to be fair. It was Everton Millwall. And now when I look back at it, I was wrong taking Olivia.
Big game, innit?
Because of what we're going to get to. And the anger with all what I've just been speaking about. Because, Colin, I've gone and watched Everton for fucking 35 years. I've never, ever been in trouble in my life. Never in my life have I...
Did you ever have a scrap?
Have a go, lad, do you know what I mean? It's like anything. I'm a lover, not a fighter, you know what I mean? and I knew it was going to go off. I knew. And I thought, it's my opportunity today to let this anger out. If I get clocked, if I get fucking sparkled, get back up, fucking... Because I was just so angry, Cullen. because of what that twat had done, you know what I mean, to our Olivia and that. I'd only told one or two of the footy lads, you know what I mean, and so we get there, and I remember one of the lads saying to me, "What are you fucking doing? You know what I mean? It's gonna, you know what I mean? It's going." I mean, I'll stay at the back. And they're like, "Tony."
Yeah, those Millwall, even their scarfers are psychopaths.
The fucking, listen, and the one thing I'll say, Millwall had a few out, mate, and it goes on. This shit goes on all over the country. Look, I've gone to football for fucking 35 years. I've never really had that, where that game, what had gone on, and I thought there's an opportunity to get involved, and because I was fucking angry. I was angry. Got on the train, fucking firm, and like, there was a good few, you know what I mean? A couple of hundred on the train.
What good lads?
Everton. It was Everton, mate. And I mean, everyone was out.
Numbers?
I reckon, I'd probably say about 150, maybe to
150 strong lads.
200, maybe. Got off the train at Surrey Quays and stuff, and Colin, I just remember walking up them steps, mate, and I can just, there was all mill, they were milling about, and I remember balls and that going, and I remember the stadium was just there, if I remember, police vans and that there, and the fucking stadium was just there, and then yes, the police went to fuck, mate.
They went.
They shit it, they shit themselves, and then the escort the escort was fucking broken, and our Olivia was on the outside, and she's gone, "Dad, this fella's going to me, you scouse cunt." And I was just laughing, do you know what I mean? Because you get it all the time. I just laugh, me, you know what I mean? And I could feel fucking the adrenaline starting to fucking like, and I've never had that. And this, Ali went, "Dad, he's got a knife or a kosh or something." He's gone, "Come on," and he's come forward, and I've just gone, "Fuck off." My head's gone, Cullen. I've never done that at the football. Never. We broke out the escort. Well, I'd say an escort, but it was like the police were just, they couldn't control it. Millwall, there was a boozer. We've gone the boozer. Cullen, I was on show, mate. I didn't, my t-shirt, my fucking baldy head. I wasn't covered up and on, because I wasn't going there for. But when that fella done that was my opportunity to let this anger out. And I've never done that at the football. Like I say, I've never been involved in fucking, anything like that. And they're going off at the pub, Millwall are coming out, going in, fucking fences are fucking, bottles are going. And I remember there was a fella outside on the floor. And they got me on seat. I remember trying to help him. I was picking him up. He's a big lad. He must have been about 18 stone, 19 stone. And as I picked him up, something hit me in the side, like winded me. Fucking like, I don't know what it was. I thought I'd been fucking stabbed or something, do you know what I mean? I just picked it up and threw it. It's gone into the beer garden. Go, police come. It's just knocking fuck out of us. Get us on the estate. They're throwing tins of food off the balconies. They're dropping planters off. This is just the residents in the fucking in the estate. We're getting took through. Now, don't forget the police have all got body cams on.
It's like a gauntlet, isn't it?
Cullen, I've been to some rowdy places, mate. But Everton were fucking gay. Millwall, listen, mate, it was, you know what I mean? Millwall had a few out. And I'm not going to say nothing bad about Millwall, do you know what I mean? But Everton that day were fucking like, I've never seen nothing like it. And I've never been involved in any, I mean, where I've been involved, where I've been there and it's gone off and I can see it and, you know what I mean? And Cullen, I got a good few fucking cracks, do you know what I mean? I had a fucking belt of coggy on my head where I think I've been, as I got in the pub, I got cracked, you know what I mean? Going through the estate, there's like a little park in the middle of the estate, and they were like minions, they were coming from everywhere. We've started having it, and then we've gone down the alleyway. Coming down the alleyway, the police are fucking gone to fuck, they can't control it. And then the next thing, it's a free-for-all, mate. I was fucking cracking. I didn't give a fuck who I was cracking. And then the instant goes on, one of the lads gets slashed and whatever, and I don't think if it would have been me, I don't think if the slashing would have been on the fucking, I don't think it would have been as big as it was, you know what I mean? Because of knife crime and all that shit. Anyway, I remember spewing up after it, the adrenaline.
I've heard this before.
I'm being...
Because you're fighting so much.
I was like... And then was Olivia? Fucking Olivia was only fucking with us. In the melee. And I'm thinking to myself, but I'm not listening properly. I'm not listening to, what's his name? Someone, a famous boxer, give me some tickets. I won't name him. But he gave me some tickets on the Friday night to go and pick up from the reception. So my mate and his daughter come.
Famous boxer, Evertonian fan?
Yeah.
I think I know you're on about.
So anyway, I'm not going round there after what's just gone on. So I've gone, give them my tickets and I've bunked in. I've gone in, one of the lads, Mars, has gone, Tony, fucking zip your jacket up, lad. Cover your head. Had a fucking big coggy on me. And I couldn't calm down, Cullen, till the second half. The adrenaline had taken, I'd never felt nothing like it. Anyway, we got beat 3-2. Fucking, we were dying for the, what's the name, if they wouldn't have scored, because they would have had to come back to Goodison, wouldn't they, and all that, and whatever goes on. And
when you left, well,
they kept us in after the game. Fucking missed the train. We had to stay in London. My missus was going fucking ape shit. Because obviously, a mum had passed away. We're not there to be looking after her. It's all over the news. There's been major disorder in London, Everton and Millwall. I've got our Olivia. What's going on? Our Olivia's on the phone going, Mum, calm down, it's okay, and all that. Like, don't ever tell your mum fucking that shit. Don't ever tell her. Anyway, we get home the next day. I get in the shower, Cullen. I was black. Blue. Where the police had just, you know, saw a couple of bit of hiding, do you know what I mean? But we got nicked and all that, but so we didn't get nicked there and then.
Did you have to go back down to Millwall?
So what happened, it was all on the news and all that. Then
a lot of videos as well.
People with the fucking phones out.
Are you on the videos?
Yeah. But listen, you know, that's how I got nicked.
You have to send us the videos so we can put on.
No, fuck that. But, and Cole, do you know what? I had so much to lose because of my business and all that. I'm not, I'm fucking doing it. I've watched Everton, like I just said before, but I've never had that where that anger was like a volcano inside me for the 3 years before. It's been living inside me, and I could never have let that. Where people might say, you could have went to a boxing gym, or you could have went and done, and you know what, they're probably right. And that day, it just come out of me. You know, when it was Everton, Millwall, and I fucking paid the price because, you know, I've got family down in London, they're all having the tea on a fucking tea time. There's me, big thumbhead on the telly. Do you know this fucking... You know what I mean? So, family's ringing me going, we're all having our tea and you're on the fucking news here. Deleted Facebook, deleted Instagram, deleted Twitter, as if it didn't exist. My phone was going off the hook. I was like... WhatsApp was like...
I bet you got a few ratings from the Everton ads.
No, it was... You know what?
Are they surprised?
Yeah. Because that's not, Cullen, that's not.
Yeah, it's not you.
But that day, something inside me, because I was hating so much, and I'm not saying it's right, you know what I mean?
But football is a vice for a lot of people, and especially football violence. It's a vice. They, you know, Monday to Friday,
I think I've met some lads from the football. What you find at the football, you tend to have somebody else's back more than your own. And with Everton, and like Millwall, like Liverpool, like Man City, like Cardiff, you will meet lads who my missus will say to me, Tony, you going to match with today? Oh, John, Gary. Who the fuck is John and Gary? Oh, he's a brickie, or he's a solicitor, or he's a painter and decorator. I've never heard you speak about him before because he's been mates from the football. What do you want to come and do? Have a fucking Sunday roast with him or something? You know what I mean? It's just that thing where
it's a bond, isn't it?
It's a bond, and it's mad, and you know, I just, and then the nicked us and all that, and, you know, what happened? Pictures went on the news, 16 images. Mine was fucking number 3. Mrs. texted me, said, Tony, can you ring me? No. Tony, ring me now. No kiss on the end. I thought, fuck. So anyway, she just went, look, I'm on the motorway, pulled over. It's on the news. What's going on? I've gone, I don't know what you're on about. Cause you know what I mean? And the next thing I've looked, it's everywhere. In the end. So I spoke to one of the lads at the football and they were like, Tony, just... And I was like, I'm a fucking shit house, mate. And I was like, what? My head had gone. So phone
He was going to jail.
What?
Did you think he was going to jail?
Cullen, if it wasn't for COVID, every single one of us
would have went to jail.
Every single one of us, even Millwall as well.
Yeah, of course.
One person went to jail, to Millwall, this last year, and you know it happened. Shit, you know it's fucking bad, but it's gone. It's happened, and it goes on in football where you know not slashing and stuff. It's you know, and they got us to. I went and handed myself in because this brief said to me, Tony, do you know these 3 names? And I went, no. I'm going to fucking see, you know what I mean? And she went, Tony, is your second name Adele? I went, yeah. And she went, do you live at such and such? I went, yeah. She went, well, look, I advise you to come to the police station on Monday because the Metropolitan Police are coming up and they know your address and they'll smash your door down. And I went, all my neighbours and all that. Fuck that. But it was on the hands-free in the car. My missus said to me, she went, I'll bring him now. I'll bring him. They went, no, they're not coming.
Met as well. Fucking hell.
So I had to go and I went, Cullen, and when they show you the footage, they had 7 clips of me, 8 clips of me from outside the pub on the estate trying to break out. Cullen, it was like seeing like a possessed fucking demon. And I was like that, watching it through my hands. I wanted to get the laptop and throw it in the bin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it was like, and then he was saying, what are you saying? Was it self-defense and all that? And, you know, and it was, Cullen, I couldn't, no comment. I was banged to right.
Was you defending there then, mate? What was that? Yeah.
Why are you ripping the fucking fence down, trying to get into the beer garden? You know, stuff like that. And I'm quite embarrassed about it, you know what I mean? But to where I was at in my life, I'm being angry and I'm not saying condone doing all that, but it happened. I was there with my team and it fucking went off like it goes off every weekend all over the country. I'm not condoning it, but it got put on me and you know, and I got a couple of cracks myself, you know what I mean? And I've said to me missus, like, you know, and court was bad. We had to live 3 years before we got to court because of COVID. Before we were getting fucking, what's the name?
Was you banned? Well, there was no football matches.
No one could go anyway, and no, we were all right to go. And we got a court date, and he said, come this date in 7. So we went, got there. The judge went, come back in 7 weeks. Colin, I had a bag packed and all that.
You don't know.
I didn't know. I've never been in trouble. I've never been to jail, and we were going to went to jail in London. So
I know. Can you imagine with the Millwall lads?
Oh, mate! But then fucking,
you probably would have got on, to be honest.
Probably. Well, I mean, I don't fucking know, but and then he said, "Come back in 7 weeks." We went back in 7 weeks, and I remember taking my wedding ring off.
So court was in London, then?
Yeah, it was because the incidents happened down here in London, and a thing I mentioned before. Like a lot of football clubs do, and the lads, when anyone gets into trouble and all that, I was looked after. All of us was. Everybody was in court. The trains, the hotels. The Everton man sorted it for us.
Did they?
Yeah. Because, you know, anyone who ever gets... You know what I mean? And I know probably other football teams might do that and stuff, and I never, ever forget that. So whenever we try and raise some money or whatever, I'll donate a frame or whatever, because they fucking helped me. Didn't have to help me. I work and stuff and whatever. Some lads who haven't got a pot to piss in. You've got 4 kids or 5 kids. You've got to get to London. You've got to stay over because the case is at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the trains could be like 250 quid return or something mad. You know what I mean? Anyway, the judge had 8 of us in, and he said to us, "Look, I've watched all the footage, and playing the footage, I was number 6. You know when they do like a fucking thing on you," and just said, "Look, I was on every single one. I could, you know what I mean?" I was like, "Oh fuck!" And then in the end, I just went. He sent us away for dinner, and he went, "Let me just tell you now, because there's no one's in that dock. no security. Don't think no one's going to jail today. Oh,
So what he said, yeah.
I swear to God. And I went, so we've all gone to this booze around the corner from the court. We're in there. A few people are having a pint. Some people having I couldn't even have a drink or nothing. There's a bit of fucking murder going on, like some fucking arguing on the phone with someone saying, you're a fucking this, and why did was you, and all this carry on. And I was like, fucking shut up now. We could be going to jail.
Yeah.
So I went back to the court with my missus to get us all in, and he swapped us round because he put us all with the jury sit. There was no jury because we'd all pleaded guilty because we were all banged to rights. Next thing, he went, Mr. Morell, can you sit there? And he put me with like...
The naughty lads.
Yeah. So, Muzzy, Joel's our fella, and Robsy, me mate. I thought they'd done worse. And when I've spoke to them, they were like, fuck off, you were worse than me. I said, well, you were fucking film, you know what I mean? And I just looked at me missus and I went, sorry. And she just looked at me and went, Tony. Anyway, he goes, Mr. Walters, Mr. fucking... I can't remember his half fella's name. Suspended sentences, rehabilitation orders, banning orders, community service. I've gone. So I've looked at the other lads who were with us. They went, Mr. Morell, Mr. Robson. So I've taken my bag up with me. And he went, Mr. Morell, put your bag down, you're going nowhere. I went, got in the dock. My mate Robsy's like in the dock next to me, like tapping me, going, what? He said, what you do in the community, Mr. Morell, and all that shit. And then it went for me, you know what I mean? I got a touch, Cull. I got a touch, mate. You know, and I could have lost my business, could have lost everything. And then he just said to me, 3-year ban and order, 150 hours community service. And I didn't remember this. I was someone at the back of the court writing notes like that, and I just like that to one of the lads. I went, he's fucking press him, he's gonna so anyway, he's let us all go. I've got out the court. I was the first one out, Cull. I pushed past everyone. I wanted to just see me missus and that, you know what I mean? And this fella come up to me. Oh yeah, can I just have a word? I went, fuck off, you grass. He went, excuse me. I went, seen you at the back of the court, fucking writing notes down. He went, no, I'm from probation, mate. I just want to take you. I went, he was from probation. He was all right in the end, all of that. But I thought he was a grass.
Yeah. Did you go and have a pint after?
Do you know what, Cullen? No.
I know.
The 7 weeks one, when he said come back in 7 weeks, we got absolutely, right by the state, by Euston. And we hadn't even had it, like, turned over or, you know, charged or whatever.
So right by there, Euston Square.
Yeah, and then I got on the train. I was exhausted. Cullen, there'd been an elephant in the room for 3 years, mate. My life, I was going to bed.
Enjoy yourself.
I was sleeping, Cullen, an hour, 2 hours, because I was lying on my pillow, and my missus would be like, have you had any sleep? I'd be like, yeah. Because I was worrying that I was going to go to jail, and everyone who's seen the footage were like, you're fucked, you know. And I was like...
Nothing worse.
I was like, I wanted people to be honest with me.
Say?
She was my brief in London was fucking brilliant. I'd only met her.
She never said jail, did she?
She said a possibility, but then my brief in Liverpool said Tony for violent disorder and that, because that's what we got charged with. Is a jail, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because it had gone on so long, we got a touch of it.
A lot of solicitors, they'll say like...
I mean, or people saying, you grass. And I was like, I didn't ask anyone for the name or fucking... When I was cracking them and they were cracking me. We got a touch. And so to the Millwall lads, you know what I mean?
But when a solicitor says, look, you're looking at fucking 8 years, and then you get 4, you was never looking at 8. It just makes them look good when you get a 4 or a 2. Do you know what I mean? That's what some solicitors would do, like.
I was fucking... I
laughing.
I couldn't believe it. The weight was just like sleepless nights for 3 years, mate.
Yeah. So, fuck you now. And did you get to speak to any of the Millwall lads?
No, because obviously they were in another court. I think they were in another court and whatever. And look, I'm glad they...
Have they played since?
Everton and Millwall? No. The fucking when the FA Cup draw comes out, everyone's always like looking to see if it's...
So you're all legit now to go back to football?
Yeah, I got my ban overturned because I fucking went and appealed it.
Yeah.
Because I stayed away, I didn't go or not or whatever, I stuck to my conditions. And the police, Millwall was trying to get it, what's the name, but it was great. And I'm not one of them to like be funny with the police or whatever, I just go about my business and whatever. But this Millwall police officer was like...
Trying.
where's your solicitor? And I went, it's a hearing, I don't need a solicitor. It's either a yes or no, and it's not down to you. I said, I'm not being rude. I said, but do us a favour, fuck off. And our Olivia was like, Dad, you can't, because my daughter and a boyfriend, it was coming and took us. And I went, listen, mate, fuck off. I said, it's got nothing to do with you. So me and Robsy were up, we got our, that was on the Wednesday, and we had to go to the Ministry, the Court of Justice. They put us in there, 50-odd courtrooms in there. And we went, and I remember, I got on the phone, we got it, you can go back, get me a ticket for Forest away on Saturday, we won as well. We went on a little run, Everton, and it was like, you're a fucking good omen. But we're still back to being shit over.
That's brilliant, mate. So what lesson have you learned from all of that?
Not get caught in that one when he messing. No, do you know what? People say this to me, you know what I mean? It's obviously I could have lost everything, my family and my business and stuff like that, because it does have an effect on, you know what I mean? Like people say, don't get fucking caught up in it and don't get involved and whatever, but it's one of those where, you know, I'm not saying I'll get back involved and whatever, but it just happened and it was fucking one of them, and it was fight or flight, Cullen, and I just...
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you subscribe, you will be notified when we release a new video. It could be your firm we make a video about next, so don't miss out and hit the subscribe button. You can find me on Facebook or email me if you have a good story to tell. See you next time.